But when we fall into the ego, and that's part of what drives the ego is fear, fear and desire. Fear and desire. These are the two main motivating factors for the ego. And we see, right, that this is how societies, governments can, or corporations can control people, is they do it through fear and desire, scarcity, and the idea that something is going to fulfill you if you get it. And but if you're not operating from the ego, then you can't be pulled into those states. You can't be pulled into a state of fear, and you can't be tempted with something, a temptation, right? The temptation of something. So just from that alone, by not being in fear and not being lulled into temptation, straight away right there, the so-called outside has no power over you. So when we realize what we are like that, no power can be taken over you. So that alone, just that alone is very powerful. And then from that, the right actions will come. And when we're operating from a certain level of consciousness, the actions that we take will be of a greater quality than if we're operating from the ego. When we take action from the ego, it is of a lesser quality, and it is coming from these motivating factors of fear and uh, desire, the temptation, trying to become something more, get something more. But when we operate from the from the true nature, that's true power because we're operating from oneness. True power is the power of oneness, not the power of manipulation. Do you know?
Mm.
We've often been taught manipulation is power, but actually, the oneness is where the true power is. Manipulation is always short-lived, but but to be situated in our true nature, in that oneness of our true nature, to me, this is the real power that is lasting and sustainable because now you're aligning with the whole of life that is then supporting you.
Mm-hmm.
You're supported by life. So you begin to trust that. So if people are afraid, it's because they're not seeing the truth of who they are, and therefore they're not able to then trust that. And so naturally, there's going to be fear because they think they are just a separate self, a separate ego that can be harmed, that can win something and can lose something. And that's what the whole society banks on is a being that is trapped in that state because that's the only way to control them. You cannot control a being who truly knows and lives as who they are.